Welcome back to This is Baseball. My name is Brandon Johnson. We have to get right into it. What on earth happened in the AL Central? Detroit was a lock for winning the American League Central. They were double digits ahead of the second best team in the Central. They were 15 games plus ahead of Cleveland. And now, as it stands today, Cleveland and Detroit are tied for first place in the AL Central. And really, Cleveland is ahead because Cleveland won the season series against Detroit. So Detroit's really a game behind Cleveland. This is an all-time collapse by Detroit. Again, looked like it was pretty much a lock mid-season that Detroit was going to win the Central. They are on a 7-game losing streak right now. They've won 1 in their last 10. They've been absolutely horrendous in Detroit, or in September. Now, let me give Cleveland their credit. They have been one of the two hottest teams in baseball. You can flip a coin between Seattle and Cleveland, and those are your two 1A, 1B top teams in baseball in the month of September. And Cleveland is a team that they had 2 key players get suspended. They did a mini sale at the deadline, and it kind of felt like, Cleveland's going to go away, and this is really Detroit's division to lose at this point. But Cleveland, I've said it for years, very well-run organization. They obviously know what it takes to win, and they understand the roster that they have, and they use the roster to the best of their ability. And here they are back in it with 5 games to go. And this is controlling your own destiny. Cleveland had to play Detroit 6 times over the last 2 weeks of the season. Last week went into Detroit, swept Detroit in 3 games. Now hosting Detroit, beat Detroit last night, beat Tarek Skubal, which was really the biggest test that they're going to face. He's likely the Cy Young. And they're just, here we are. Cleveland, probably a playoff team, probably a division winner. Now, there's 2 games to go between Cleveland and Detroit. Cleveland could turn around and take the next 2 of the series, and all of a sudden Cleveland's back on top with 3 to go. But this is absolutely insane. The complete and utter collapse that Detroit has had. And Detroit, not only are they in trouble as far as the division is concerned, their playoff hopes are in trouble. Fortunately for Detroit, Houston lost to the Athletics last night, so Houston is still a game behind Detroit in that final wildcard spot, but it is very, very dire right now for Detroit. Detroit last year had that big surge in September. They were kind of the team that came out of nowhere in the final stretch of the season, as a team tends to do in baseball. That's why I think baseball is the best when it comes down to the final stretch of the season and the postseason, because you have a kind of surprise team. That was Detroit last year. It seems to be Cleveland this year. But Detroit is in trouble, and if they miss the playoffs, is AJ Hinch done in Detroit? Is the front office going to get a turnover? It's not a good situation right now. I don't know if you could fire AJ Hinch just based off of last year and this year being mostly good and who steps in that's better, I don't know. But this is not good for Detroit. But what I love about stuff like this is we went from a division in the American League Central that was really not that interesting because it seemed like it was pretty much over with. And now, all of a sudden, chaos has ensued, and the team that has been in the lead the entire season now is in jeopardy of even making the playoffs at all. But honestly, good for Cleveland, because they have had a very rocky season and find themselves right back in it. Won the division last year, and goodness, that is wild. Seattle clinched a postseason berth. They are 4 games ahead of the Astros, so they very shortly, if they don't today, they could tomorrow clinch the AL West. Toronto, New York, both have clinched playoff spots. Toronto's a game up on the Yankees. AL wild card, very tight. Yankees, Red Sox hold the 1 and 2 spot. Yankees, obviously, like I just said, they clinched the playoff berth, so at the worst, they're a wild card team. Houston is a game out. They're right behind Detroit. And Houston is the last team alive in the AL that doesn't currently hold a playoff spot. The Royals got eliminated last night, so they are officially done with 5 games to go. And it was inevitable, but shout out to the Royals for being interesting and being in contention with 5 games remaining on the schedule. I said it last week, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but future looks bright in Kansas City, even though this season did not go how I wanted it to or the Royals wanted it to. I think they're going to have a very important offseason and do the things that they need to do and be better next year. Now, I want to go back to the Tigers and Guardians situation because right now, as it stands, they both hold a playoff spot, but they're playing each other. I honestly think that one of them is going to miss. I don't think we end the season and both of them have playoff spots. And at this point, I think the Guardians are going to get the playoff spot and Detroit is going to be on the outside looking in. Because once Detroit finishes their series against Cleveland, they have to play Boston. And Boston right now is only sitting a game ahead of them in the wild card spot. So Boston needs to win baseball games as well. So you're going to have 2 teams that are going to be fighting for a final playoff spot. And I just think, based off of the way that Detroit has been playing, that it looks grim. And Detroit's going to have some decisions to make this time on Monday for the future of their ball club. Let's look at the NL real quick, because that is a little bit clearer of a picture. Brewers, Phillies, Dodgers, Cubs, Padres all have clinched playoff spots. The Brewers have clinched the NL Central. Phillies have clinched the NL East. And it's really just a matter of, will the Dodgers hold on against the Padres? Dodgers have a 1-game lead on the Padres right now. And will the Mets hold on to that final wild card spot? The Reds had an opportunity last night to tie the Mets for a wild card spot, but Brady Singer couldn't take care of business against the Pirates. So Mets held on for now. But I want to pick the teams that I am riding with in the postseason now that the Royals are officially out of it. At the beginning of the season, I picked the Dodgers to win the World Series, and that might still be the case. But I and many other people have been picking against the Milwaukee Brewers for a very long time. Each and every year, we count them out. This is the year that they're done. And it looks like they're going to hold on and finish with the best record in all of baseball. So for the National League, I'm riding with the Milwaukee Brewers in October. They're going to get to skip the wild card round, play in the National League Division Series, and I think this will be the year they finally break through. I do think that they'll have a tough road ahead of them because I think the Phillies will be a team that is going to be in the National League Championship Series, and look for a Milwaukee-Philadelphia Championship Series. In the American League, obviously we don't know quite what's going on, but same thing with the Brewers, kind of counting them out. I have been talking down on the Mariners all season long, and they have proved me wrong over and over and over and over again this season. They have probably the MVP in Kyle Riley. He's had a historic season from a catcher standpoint and from a switch hitter standpoint, and they have been one of the better stories in all of baseball. I'm riding with the Mariners in the American League this year because I think that they have what it takes to do it, but I also think that they don't have really a ton of pressure or expectations, in my opinion. You have the Yankees, where I think Aaron Boone needs to win a World Series. The Blue Jays, they're getting back to the postseason. Blue Jays are similar to the Mariners, but it's wide open in the AL. But I'm riding with the Mariners. I'm riding with the Brewers in 2025 postseason. I'll probably be wrong, but I had to get that out there. Thank you for tuning in today. I will be back next week to talk playoffs. See you then.